his builds. I mean, he's really manipulating every aspect of the game in order to get ahead here. And of course, Action, just somebody, when you look at his play style and how focused and stylized his strategies are, I think the early game in this series is going to be a lot of fun to see with two players like this.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get into it. In the top left, we have Mini. Of course, the runner-up from the last ASL. And Action in the bottom right. Already has defeated Mini. Lost in a reasonable series against Sulky. It was pretty good, right? A 3-1 for Sulky, if I recall correctly. And that was a fun one. Action, the only other Zerg left in the tournament right now. So I'm actually kind of rooting for him, even though Mini is a guy that I always expect round of 8 minimum. I feel like Mini, at least as of late, right, he's always been a round of 8, round of 4 guy. Whatever tournament you throw him into, he's like, you can rely on him to get that far because it's so hard to knock him out.
Also, I think Mini specifically overcame, I think, a lot of the emotional discomfort of playing in front of large audiences.
Yeah, that's true.
This was not a player that had the kind of star power as someone like Jadong, or the StarCraft 2 background of Rain or Sulky, where they feel very much at home on the stage. I think for him, he definitely probably had to have a little bit more experience there to really have an idea of how to execute what he wanted to do, and I think we've seen that now. So
he was very emotional for a long time, where like he'd mess up and he just like his hands on his face and stuff, but he overcame it. We even saw that where he was like, it seemed like he was mentally falling apart in that ASL season, then he pulled it together and ended up making it.
Am I seeing here?
Oh, he's blocking the third and then going up to block the natural. Pre-block on the third.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
Action will have to take a very different base.
Yeah. Wow, this is so interesting. Now, this is what I was talking about. Yeah, it makes sense. And he doesn't have to put that pylon up right away. So the drone's been driven away. Now, remember, you need to get your hatches up just for the sake of production. It's not even just about having an expansion or not. I mean, the longer you go without having a hatch up, the worse it gets. So I am loving this opening here from Mini. I thought for a second when I saw the pylon down there, I thought, is he going to make another gate down there? I thought, no. But now that I see this is amazing.
You see that drone coming? If the drone's coming back, is it going to go towards that third? That would be kind of funny. Goes there and finds the pylon. Yeah, it looks like it is.
It is.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
what a clever play.
Yeah. I've seen, in the past, a lot of blocks with pylons. I've never seen something quite like that, like a double pylon block here. Now, keep in mind that the Protoss is actually sacrificing quite a bit by doing this. You don't have your Nexus up when you normally would have started it. You don't have a Forge up. But it seems like this really, really, really puts the Zerg on the back feet here. I mean, they're having to eliminate pylons and hold off Zealot pressure.
It's going to be a couple Zealots that are going to be fighting against 6 Lings here. There's something attacking the pylon right now. Other than that drone, something else was sent down as well. And Mini does have that Nexus on the way. Yeah, a couple Lings, so.
I got to say, Action's actually handling this pretty gracefully, considering.
Yeah.
I think, for those of you guys that are here also to steal builds and learn, I think this is something that a lot of players, even at pretty high levels, would struggle against if they haven't experienced it that much. Just kind of coming out and interfering with everything that's the Zerg is trying to do. The thing about doing this, and why we haven't seen it very often, is it's very hard to hold off counterattacks if you don't know exactly what you're doing, and that's why this hyper-modern style of play that we're seeing in PvZ is finally finding its stride here. Gate first into Zealot, slow drip, into expanding behind it.
This is like he's getting his Forge now, so we don't see that thing you were talking about quite yet. But look at this, the core coming up before the cannon again. I love it.
There it is, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, it really is. And it just seems like a good build. Like, his Nexus is barely later than the hatchery at the natural. Wow.
So the layer
I just like the way Mini plays this matchup. Sometimes there's a player like this where I'm like, I could have fun playing this matchup,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, you don't have fun playing PvZ?
It's frustrating a lot of the time, right?
Yeah.
But I like this kind of active approach that he's bringing in. I think when you just do a Forge expand and then I scout whether or not I'm about to die with to Hydras with a Corsair, that's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I'd rather not know it's coming.
Well, what's funny is I think that's why it took fast expanding in general so long to even really come into play here, historically in StarCraft 1 for the Protoss, because the idea of just having cannons and basically you're relying on static structures to keep you alive in a game is very, very difficult. So, but an approach like this is very cool, and it really changes the whole rhythm of the game.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going for Forge first and getting cannons up, Zergs have that very nicely mapped out, how to kind of hold everything off and continue to grow.
They're much less sure against the Zealots.
Yeah.
Because the Protoss actually can dictate things there instead of having everything dictated to him.
Yeah, yeah. Instead of giving the Zerg a series of choices, which all of which could be very powerful if the Protoss isn't prepared. Here you're actually forcing the Zerg to really do a balancing act of defending and attacking and teching and all that.
All right, Citadel coming up. We don't see the +1 air weapons as of yet here from Mini.
Yeah, there's a second gate actually put down pretty quickly here.
So just
and that's in a kind of unusual location. You know, normally you want to make all of your other gateways in your main because it's just easier to go back there and macro through them. So it seems like he definitely wants to have that hidden.
It seems to me like maybe Mini is going to go for, like, at first I thought because he has the double gas that it might be DT Sair, but he's not getting the +1 for the Corsairs, and with that fasting and gate, does this kind of lean towards like a massive Zealot move out?
Well, it can just be Corsair DT without the +1. Is that you're not relying on having stronger Corsairs necessarily later. You can even do Corsair DT with just one Corsair. You know,
I suppose
it's
feels like you won't be able to push much away though.
The thing is, if you have 2 gateways, then you have 2 DTs coming out at the same time, and that's where
my god,
the burden is on the Zerg having enough in both locations, and a lot of times they don't.
Wow, 2 DTs at one time.
Yes.
Why doesn't everyone just do that version?
Because then you don't have as much of a powerful push with your Zealots coming out later on. But then again, with this build, to be honest, it's kind of weird because he got out a lot of Zealots pretty early, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm almost talking about this as if it was a Forge first build, but it's not.
No, it's not.
It's Mini with the Zealot pressure. So we've got more gates coming down.
Okay, so definitely a lot of Zealots. The Temple Archive's not ready quite yet. Sunken's going down. Additional macro hatches here as well, but he's going to have his +1 in his legs. I feel like he might break this third.
Yeah, he might actually have enough here. This Evo chamber is incredibly important. I almost want to say it would have been worth it to right-click on the Evo chamber and kill it and try to come through, but I guess that the math can be pretty tricky here in a moment like that. Actually, never mind. I forgot about the Sunken Colony below that.
Okay, so coming in right now, not that many drones right there. Oh, some mutas popping out to help push these Zealots back.
And these Zealots are going to have to retreat back home. Now, is he still making more and more Corsairs? Yes, he's going to resume the production of those Corsairs now.
But in this type of situation, if action stays somewhat heavy, and he does actually take his third gas now, if he stays somewhat heavy on the Corsair, on the Muta Scourge, because there's no +1, won't that almost be good for him? Like a good idea?
I'm sorry, can you ask me that one more time?
Okay, so
right.
There's no +1 for the Corsairs on the
yeah.
way, and he skimped on Corsairs quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
no, this is great for
doesn't this
Zerg.
really power up the Muta Scourge quite
a
a
bit?
bit?
No, absolutely.
Okay.
The thing is okay, hold.
Wow, those were some brave moves.
Yeah. So, I was watching to see if that was going to happen. Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. If you go for Corsairs and they try to do the gotcha Muta play, you're in great shape.
Yeah.
But when you're skipping the +1, then you're going to get your other gas stuff out more quickly, right? You're getting into a faster Templar Archives.
Lots of sunks on the way. I think this is because of the Zealot Archon. Like, you have to have that static key. The Mutas cannot fight against those Archons.
Right. You want to go and turtle up as much as possible. Now, you can combo the Corsairs with the Archon.
Yeah.
And specifically with the 2 Archons here. This is actually a great way that if you see the Muta play, to still take control of the game.
Okay, the Corsair is actually coming in. Where are those Scourge? He does have quite a few, but look at this. Flying back over the Archons. Very well done. Oh, one of them actually connects, though. Only 4 Corsairs, so this is still a doable defense for action.
It's a very doable defense for action.
What's wrong with that, Tasteless?
I don't know. I just never heard you say it like that.
It's a doable defense. He can do
fraction,
it.
Yeah.
You can do it. And look, now he's got his +1 flyer carapace.
Yes.
It's a super doable defense. Is it a doable attack, though, for Mini?
It has to have a fraction in there. You got to keep that part in there as well. Oh, by the way, these Corsairs connecting nicely with those. I'm sorry, Scourge connecting nicely with the Corsairs. He's going to have to back up. Now, there's going to be this moment where Zerg might be stuck making more and more and more mutas if he gets the armor here. We're going to have to possibly see some switching. I love this. He's hiding pylons everywhere. Zerg's Action's being really smart. You know, when you have a lot going on, it's great to send a probe out and just start trying to make a pylon somewhere, get a cannon up.
I love the way that Action's playing this. I'm just such a fan of mutas in this matchup. It's like very, very fun to watch, especially if the Corsairs don't wreck them. I mean, if the Corsairs wreck them, that's not fun to watch. But when they don't, it's like, oh, this is pretty dynamic, right? There's like a lot of interesting moves that both sides can make. But look at what Mini's up to. He's actually adding his Dragoons in now. Yeah, is he just going for like a ground-pounding force here? Yeah, well, you don't really need to rush into Templars because they're getting just a bunch of mutas, right? And so they don't have a ground army. So, I mean, you definitely want to have, you know, the bare minimum number of Templars here, but he might be going for a ground pound here. Oh, that was weird. The thing is, Zerg is completely turtling up, so I think what Protoss wants to do is try to watch for where the 4th base is. Look for a fight there. He's got 3 Evos right now and does have some Lurkers out, so it seems like this army going to have a hard time breaking through, but with the Dragoons, you can start to hit on the hatcheries in the outer buildings. What is that guy going to make? Queen's Nest? I think there was some mistake there. Our Observer keeps going back, but it's not getting moved. I think Mini will probably just continue to power up, start to throw cannons down at a 3rd base, and it's going to be up to Mini to try to just check the map and say, okay, where's the expand going to be? It will be down there. That's why we're seeing Lurkers suddenly get produced. Okay, the 3rd base coming up here for Mini now. There we go. I think he might have told that to build earlier, and he just ran out of the money to do it. That's what that placement kind of looked like to me. But all right, so a little bit of a tech transition here from Action. This is actually getting into a more interesting spot than a lot of the PvZs that we've seen so far, in my opinion. I like this, right? There's not really that many High Templars, but it seems like the ground army is much stronger right now for Mini, but Action is switching over into an army that should be able to fight against that, right? Yeah, this is actually exactly what Action needs to do, to just slow down the 3rd base here. A little bit overkill there with that storm, but... and so this Nexus is going to get up. He might want to actually park his army outside the natural. The Dragoons just kind of firing some shots. It's going to interfere with all the rally points as well. The thing is, we've seen a lot of Zergs that kind of overextend here. Let's see how he plays this. Now, there's actually... Oh, that's interesting. I think Action is intending to try to take both the upper right and the bottom left and just see which one actually lasts. Yeah, that's an old strategy from Zerg, actually. Yeah. Span twice and let him kill one. Now... This is so interesting to me right now. Like, Action is rushing up to Hive, and look at this. He's being super mobile with this group of units. He might go for that 3rd base again. Has another group of Lings in the top right as well. I love this, the sending of the 2 Zealots over here just to get the kill on the drone. Can they, though, that Lurker? Yeah, yes, they can. Easily, I might add. Yeah, Mini needs to have DTs or Zealots just checking the upper right and the bottom left. On a map that's about this size with the expansion numbers that we have, there's not a lot of hidden bases. This isn't like Circuit Breakers where you could just chuck an expansion somewhere crazy and they might not find it. Like, it's pretty easy for the Protoss to scout. And so here's what I was talking about earlier, is we might have a pretty steady push here. Now, he's got to be careful not to overextend with the Zealots here, because they will get chewed up. Oh! Oh, he gets the Observer. There's a lot of Lurkers still in here, but he does have some Size Storms. Picks off one of them. Actually, that is the last Lurker, isn't it? I believe so, yeah. And so now he can try to, edge forward here. Now, there's going to be a lot of cracklings being made here, so it's important that he didn't overextend with those Zealots, because the Zealots are what you need to kind of be in front of the cracklings. Archons are also, extremely important as well. Now, if he gets the Hydra Den here, too, that's going to hiccup Lurker production. Hydra productions that we can turn into Lurkers later. I suppose you're right about that. It looks like Adrenal isn't quite done yet, but that will be super helpful. He has quite a few units out on the map. I feel like there's going to be a flank that kills this, which I see a lot of the time when a Zerg turtles like this. Eventually, Protoss really commits, and then a giant flank comes. Okay, he's looking for that Observer. The Observer's going to try to get back over here. Oh my God!
Nicely done.
Yeah, nice pick off.
Good snipe. This is exactly how you keep a Protoss outside of your base and not actually coming in there and destroying you. Is they have to respect the lurkers. And, eventually they're going to run out of the other tools that allow them to fight like this. And so we're seeing a very, very turtled up defensive Zerg style here. This is very frustrating to play against because right now Protoss has the muscle on the map. They are able to basically win any fight in open territory, and that's why we're seeing these guerrilla tactics here.
Oh, he's trying the Mutalisk Micro and actually picks off the
done.
Archon. Yeah, that was nice indeed.
Oh,
revenge.
Well, this means that the next Observer is going to be able to get over there.
Oh my god.
And there's a chance Action is actually cracked open. That was so crazy.
He's like, hey, those cost 1,000 minerals and 1,000 gas, right? He's like, yeah. Bye. My god, that was brutal.
Okay, so every lurker very important here. Scourge are going to be necessary to snipe observers. I don't know about this. I actually think it's probably better if he ignores the third. Just leave it alone,
I think I agree with you. At the top right base, if Action wins this game, it's because of this, right? Like, he's turtling it really heavily, and Mini just has no idea.
Sometimes Zergs will lose a game like this because they lose their man. It seems like a lot of times people assume that StarCraft games are won purely off of who got the last, stop that last expansion, but there is the chance that they are so invested in defense there that you just get in there and then you kill all the tech. And during that tech reset, there's like so many different things Protoss can do. Now, he's not going to push it any further here, it seems like. Oh, no, hold on.
Yeah,
he's actually looping back around.
Backed out, but he is coming back in. Now that there's Defiler tech out, though, and these Adrenalings, I feel like that gets a little bit scary for Protoss. Sometimes we see Protoss still fight against that and eventually kill them. But if he doesn't kill him on one of these next couple pushes, isn't he going to have to tech up more?
Yeah, he might have to. We also might have, hold on, this is the most important moment here. One thing you can have if you start to have Defilers come out is you start to, because that means that they're trying to, defend a lot with very, 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 very little here, is you can go mass Corsair DT.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're going to try to tech into something else, and you sort of just roam the map, and they can't really get out and do that much. And then they have to get something that can directly confront Corsairs. Now, that was actually very well handled there by Mini, by the way. He did not overextend. The Adrenalings are going to try to come out here and do some damage, but...
Yeah, I love how he's taking his time re-size storming everything here as well.
To be honest, it might be worthwhile to get a Dark Archon to feed back the Defiler. I mean, the amount of sustain that a Dark Swarm gives you in moments like this.
Yeah, we've actually seen a slight emergence of Dark Archons since Remastered came out, more than I remember ever seeing in the old days.
Okay, Storm's coming down now. And I gotta say, I think we just saw Action get broken. I think he did it. I don't think he's gonna have enough. And this is actually a really intelligent play by Mini. He's just basically busted in here. This is hurting my eyes.
There's some things going wrong here for sure.
So many things wrong with this picture here.
Those slings will eventually kill that Zealot. Oh my god, the Archon's getting up and everything.
Yeah, all you need is Zealot Archon from here on out.
Well, the Dragoons are doing just nothing.
Yeah, but they've served their purpose here. There's no defenses. And then you're going to have Action. Yeah, that's it. GG. Wow. Really, really well played there by Mini.
Yeah, that was a very cool
done.
game. It felt like he was on the back foot a little bit against the Mutas, but I guess Action never really got any damage done there. And Mini's pushes were beautiful, how he didn't overextend.
Yeah, and he basically just sort of willed his way through. He had a big enough army, and he was very patient about it. I think almost any of the Protoss player does not get in there, but he was smart. He kept the Dragoons alive. He knew he had to get those Observers over there. I think he even got Observer speed. Gets in there, and when you see that, what the Protoss identifies is that the natural is probably the most likely place that you can get into. Most of the time, you see people trying to kill expansions back there.
That third base was so turtled. You do not want to go up that ramp.
And the fact that there was no high ground there, even though there was all these buildings covering it, over time you could chip away at that and eventually get in there. And specifically with Zerg, when you can get to their hive on maps like that, you'll see this on Fighting Spirit as well. They don't even have enough room to rebuild all their buildings on those turtled bases. Yeah. And so all you have to do is get in there and kill their core tech, and then it's really a very easy win, and that's why we saw Action type out. Technically, Action could probably have lasted much longer, but all Mini would do is take the entire map and sit and
clown on
wait.
him at that point.
Yeah,
You're
I
not
mean,
going to be able to
there's
stop
so
that.
much that you can do at that point in time.
Yeah.
That opening. That opening was very interesting.
Yeah, it was quite cool how he blocked the third base immediately, slowed him down, had the Zealot pressure, got into his Nexus. Very cool stuff. I do want to mention that it seemed like Action tried to build the Queen's Nest earlier. I feel like his Hive and thus the Defiler tech was about a minute and a half late, including the Adrenalings. And I, with how the timing that he busted the Natural the first time, or half busted it at least, right? Compared to when the Defilers came out, I feel like that could have made quite a difference this game. If he had had out Adrenalings and a Defiler like a minute and a half before they both were out, that can make a big difference.
Yeah. Let's see how he does this time around. I don't know if that was necessarily Action's game plan to play into a game like that, or if the opening from Mini set it up. Sometimes if Zergs get behind, they're kind of forced into the defensive play.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, we're going to jump into game number 2 here on Circuit Breakers. Here we go.
Okay, so we have Action in the upper right and Mini in the upper left, both players sharing the top of the map. And Action is actually scouting to the south here.
I think also, by the way, the way that Action played that might be a little bit about the map. I think he was trying to go into that turtled style, because that map seems a little bit hard for ZVP. Getting a fourth base can be a little bit difficult, but there are places that you can heavily turtle, so maybe that was kind of his plan overall.
Mini, I'm always watching for his builds early on. I love the way he plays this, but this is on a map that's not one-on-one map. So you have certainly a limited number of options as Protoss without taking huge risks. Although there is, you can just not scout at all and make a Nexus. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things.
I tell you, every time I see a Nexus first, I'm just scratching my head. Overpool, it feels like it is the build 8 times out of 10, or at least.
Yeah, it seems like Overpool it's the Goldilocks build. It is just right against pretty much any kind of build, and I think that's where we saw the origins of the one gate pressure build. Is you look at that, you go, well, this is kind of enough. To be a bit of a headache.
Sure. By the way, we just saw a nice scout there by Mini, where you go, that's a Circuit Breaker specific scout.
Yes. If
the Zerg scouts in the normal pattern, which of course, if you're a pro gamer, you're going to randomize which direction you send your Overlord in. But you can just go there, and at that time, you'll see the Overlord coming and know what main base that they're in. And if you don't see it, they're in the bottom left. Unless, of course, they've randomized that search pattern.
I think he actually made a forge. You can cannon rush.
Yeah, no, I think you're right that he did make a forge. I don't think we're going to see a cannon rush, though. Cannon rush hasn't worked at the pro level, I think, since Remastered came out.
Yeah, I don't think we've casted a game that's...
I've seen every ASL and KSL game since Remastered came out, and even before that a little bit. Yeah. And I can't remember a cannon rush actually working. I remember Best did one on this map, and it didn't work at all, and it was like against Hatch first.
Well, the thing is, for a while they were so strong because you could just pop them out, and Zerg's just minding his business trying to play a macro game, and suddenly, because there are all these techniques you had to know about how to get in there and get in front of the cannons. I mean, I was totally in love with cannon rushing once I discovered that I could both expand and possibly just get a really quick cheese to interrupt everything.
Sure.
Also, I think they've changed several maps so that the cannon rushes aren't as viable.
There were a couple, you're very right
of maps
about that.
where cannon rushes were just so comically good.
Yeah.
That
I think
you would actually be foolish to not use them.
Yeah.
It's like, look, if you can memorize the build pattern here, and then you can basically play a proper PvZ when you're way ahead, just do this. And so I think they fixed a lot of that on these maps.
You're definitely right.
And so we have gas coming down now. Now it appears we're just going to see a steady tech into layer here. And
something interesting to point out, right, is the third base location for Action. A lot of times when they are horizontal spawns like this, we've seen Zergs take like the 3 o'clock or the 6 o'clock base, right? Because that mineral base gets kind of close to your opponent. I'm not saying it's wrong or anything like that. Just kind of interesting to see. Maybe Action hadn't seen exactly which main base he was at yet as well.
I'm excited to see Mini, by the way, actually with a more ordinary build. I want to see how he performs.
Okay.
This is just a, no cannon rush forge first. Okay. Well, hold on.
Do you see what I see?
Do you see what I see? A den, cheesing in the game.
You are actually one of the great song makers of our time.
Thank you,
No
Artosis.
one knows this except for me.
I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's going to work at all.
What, the Hydra Rush?
Yeah. Well, he's going to see it.
How's he going to see it?
Because the second Zealot's going to go over there. It's in the middle of the map.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's just going to kill the Zealots. Watch.
Look at this. Oh, he didn't go through the crack.
Okay, the next
Did he
Zealot's
cancel the
coming.
layer?
Look, these are Zerglings, right? That are on that second Zealot. Oh my gosh.
Listen, you don't know who you're messing with here, buddy.
See? See, he's not letting it in. He has no idea. He thinks that right now the layer's about to finish. That's what he thinks, Staceless.
It did finish. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, there you go.
Uh-oh,
Now
this
we really
is
know.
suspicious. Nothing to hide here. Making sure my drones...
Oh!
Now, the thing is, the drone move there might telegraph... Yeah, that basically telegraphs the rush.
Well, there's Hydras out, so...
So some of you guys might be wondering, why would you still get a layer if you were going to do this? Because the Protoss will let his guard down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
it's worth it.
he's
Mineral-wise, it
actually-
only costs 2 Hydras, right?
I think he might be... This is not a committed one. I think he's going to try to kill the Forge.
Yeah, there's been a... I love that cannon placement right there, by the way. That's trying to block the Forge from dying. But, look, I actually have seen some builds where you go layer into the Hydra Tech as opposed to the Spire. Do you know much about those builds?
Oh, hold on one
Ones
second.
that are macro-based?
You mean the Zerg goes in and gets a steady Spire and stays back?
No,
sorry.
instead of the Spire, going into the layer, getting the Hydralist Tech out. I've seen it done with Lurkers a little bit, and they take a 4th base and kind of macro up.
It's
and
kind
just
of an
skip the
older
Spire.
way. It's from what I understand, it's kind of an older way to play it.
I haven't seen it too much lately, but a little bit in ASL. We had a few games of it.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm still kind of unpacking some of these different play styles and how this works. We also, we had that one game where Jaedong did a Hydra bust, but also was getting up to 5 hatches while it was going on. If you remember,
he Hydra busted while having...
He got to have his cake and eat it with that build. It was very, very strange.
He had all the tech and drones and the rush. It was really good.
There's a rhythm to this as well, right? He made some drones. He did a little bit of damage. He stopped, and now he's gone back and he's making a ton of Hydras. Now, note, he's going to get the Forge, so there's going to be this period of time. Great body block, by the way. Ooh. That was the one way that you might be able to slip out and just start killing workers. But the Forge is still alive. He's going to try to trounce this expansion here, and it's going to be up to Mini to do everything in his power to stop it. This is why we see probes pulled here. I know it's a lot of cannons, and it looks like there's no way you could break this. You'd be surprised how fast Hydras do damage.
Yeah, they really do.
Now, see the Corsairs that are parked? Corsairs are parked at the top. That's so that you can probe click onto the minerals.
Yes, you're very right about
He
that.
needs to be able to probe drill here.
Okay, picks off that Forge. So many cannons coming up. He does have a High Templar as well. Does send these down as those finish up. Doesn't need that drill any longer.
He's actually going to get one Overlord. Very nicely done. Supply blocking action is something absolutely worth doing here. And we've got a Spire coming.
Okay. Seems like Action may give up this rush. Like he's making drones again. He's just kind of adding on his tech. But did he do enough here?
Well, we haven't really gotten a shot of the Protoss' main, so we don't really know where the tech is yet. I mean, we saw that DT was forced, and then he killed that. I think he's in good shape, actually. I think Action's going to be fine as this game continues on here.
Okay, the Corsair just flying out. Getting that full scout off, seeing that there is that transition now. I mean, there are a lot of Hydras, but High Templar tech is already out. I imagine that Psystorm is about done now.
Yeah.
Isn't Mini's next move out going to be very, very strong? It seems like it's going to be late, though. Look at this. He's just now adding those gates.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what happens when you make that many Hydras. You can't afford a gateway. A gateway costs the same as a cannon. So you just throw down tons and tons and tons of cannons. And what the Protoss usually is trying to do in this moment is this balancing act of at least getting all the upgrades out. You know, researching Storm, doing everything else. Because those are the only buildings that you have. PvZ's funny early game. It's very interesting how it operates.
It's a very strange matchup.
It's compared to all other RTS matchups. There's a lot of things that are just not traditional about it. You know, it's in the way it's played here now. The fact that you would rely only on structures to defend at high-level play early on is a very odd thing.
Yeah.
That seems like a very newbie thing that you're kind of taught to unlearn that. Like, don't make 50 cannons here. That's stupid. You need to get an attacking army. And I think that's why we didn't see this historically in StarCraft for a while. And then as time passed, someone said, wait a minute, but if I make the cannons at the expansion and I can just math it out perfectly, then I get away with it, then I have a lead. But then there's this whole way that the Zerg can exploit. Okay, well then let's make you keep making cannons. Oh my God! It says, can I do it, Artosis? I'll do it for you. It's a red Archon.
This is called a dark Archon.
Oh, my bad. It's not a red Archon?
Well, it's red in color for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Its name though is the dark Archon.
How is this role reversal?
What's its abilities, Tasteless?
Melee storm. Melee. He storms lots of melee. Now the Dark Archon is a really interesting pick.
Well, there was the Muta switch, right? So he has some Mutas out. They got wrecked the first time they flew in, but I love Maelstrom against Zerg. It's just so strong.
Maelstrom?
That's what it's actually called.
Melee Storm.
Melee Storm.
Melee Storm.
Mealstorm.
Yeah, the Dark Archon is a very cool pick. And
that was the greatest Psy Storm
This is
ever.
exactly why you never storm unless you are in range when it can come out, because there's almost no moment where you're like, I'll just storm here on the ground. And
jeez,
that was funny. Is this going to be...
The only spell that should ever whiff like that is EMP, okay? There's nothing else. There's nothing else that should ever whiff that bad.
If you don't storm at the right time, it takes the Templars too long to start to move to get to where they're in range where they storm, so then you end up with this really off-looking storm. I think we're going to see a push here from Protoss.
Well, he's definitely getting ready for it. He's kind of zoning all the units out of the front of his base.
Now, there's 3 locations you could hit here as mini, and that's always what the Protoss is thinking about in a moment like this. Is it going to be that 3rd base, will it be the natural, or will it be the 4th base? But first he might try to take a fight in the middle of the map.
Look at the supplies right now. Action actually has it reasonably close, but this is such a teched out army. I feel like if he just nails his spells, it's going to be really hard for Action.
I don't know if he has enough storms, actually, for the number of Hydras that are out here.
What type of storms are we talking about?
Not melee storms.
Some Hydras actually come in for a bit of a flank. Oh, that is so beautiful.
Beautifully done. Really, really nicely done. And then he just waits.
Cloudy with a chance of melee storms there, Jesus.
Oh, we have fun here at KSL. We do. Okay. Zerg is now beginning to get even in supply, which usually means the Protoss is not in a very good spot. He's going to try to push out, though. Let's see what he can actually get done. Now, you want to actually, in this moment, you want to run and have the storms come down as the Hydras are coming for you. That's one trick to make your storms probably do a lot more damage than they normally would.
Yeah, storms are extremely good in retreating situations. Okay, he almost has another Maelstrom ready. Pulling back onto his high ground, it looks like Action is really trying to flank, but Mini's army movement looks really good right now.
Yeah, well, what he's doing is he's coming out, he's waiting for an attack, and you have to keep in mind, and I think people that have not ever played StarCraft 1 cannot really appreciate how physically taxing it is to continue to spread out control groups of Hydras. You're kind of exploiting the sheer amount of APM it requires.
The amount you have to switch screens to do that, too, is really high.
Yeah, and I mean, it interrupts all your macro cycles and everything. And so what he's doing is he's coming out, he's looking for a little bit of a fight, and he blankets with storms while he runs back.
Yeah. Okay, he's coming out once again. Very scary-looking army here, but Action has so many Hydras at the moment.
problem, though, is when you have this many Hydras, it's much harder to control everything.
I love the way that Mini is microing this.
Well, this is
it's beautiful.
This is how you get them to actually eat a lot of storms.
But Action is playing right against it very well. Like, he's running up and then turning around as soon as the Protoss army is turning. This is beautiful army control on both sides. Someone's got to falter, though.
Okay, as we zoom out here, we have the Mutas coming in. It doesn't look like they're going to be targeting down any of the Templars just yet.
Feels like Action's micro is good enough thus far. It's actually running with this other group.
Size storms.
That bottom one was beautiful.
But look at this. Mini is so patient. And Mini's actually taking a fourth as this is happening. Great melee storm there. No, I can't even say it right. Now we've been messing with words for so long.
Oh, the Hydra's all coming in right now. A lot of them getting butchered. He is starting to kite back against these alls. Picks off a High Templar. Nice pick off there. Starting to make some lurkers over in the middle of the map as well.
Mini's starting to really get some momentum here. Where is the actual rally point? Is it just below the bridges?
Oh, I'm not sure, actually.
Sometimes in games like this, just getting to where the rally point is pretty huge.
Yeah. Well, you have to reset so many hatcheries from so many locations.
Okay, we got a counterattack here.
Yeah, he's hitting this mineral-only base. The thing is, he is going to get flanked here. Ooh, nice Psy Storm there as well. The rallied Zealots coming up and attacking these Hydras. He is going to end up losing these Hydras.
Yeah, this seems like a bit of a mistake.
Yeah.
He's going to try it. I know he can't even snipe the Nexus. So he's going to run for it.
He lost a lot of Hydras there for not much damage.
Let me tell you something. Once the Protoss gets the fourth base up, you are just in for a very long, difficult game here as a Zerg.
Yeah.
Protoss has finally gotten exactly where they want to be. We might even see some Reavers used in the late game here to defend against Dark Swarm and stuff like that.
I feel like Mini is playing so well right now. You can see his supplies starting to really climb at the moment. He's still got such a highly technical army as well. Lots of upgrades coming for Action. What is the type of move that you're looking for here as Action? Just getting him out of position? That feels like what Action is going for.
Yeah, he's been kind of relying on that. Well, he's also getting ready to have to really turtle in this game here. Probably going to have, there it is once again. Very nicely done. It's so sick just how Mini is making this look so easy.
Yeah.
And by the way,
this
isn't like the most ideal tech to have here in a game that is now going to go on for this long. Just Hydra Lurker.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've noticed kind of trending now with because Mass Hydra is so strong in the mid game, and it seems like a lot of Zergs tend to lean into that a little bit too hard. Is that then they don't really have a great army to fight in a super late game? You know,
it's a good point. They do really focus on that so much. Look at this though, Mini coming down with his army. It's kind of disjointed, taking a while for the Templars to come. Some good Psy Storms do start to land though. Action not rallying anything else into here right now.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be able to save this, though.
I think so.
Yeah, and this is...
Maybe not, actually. That is a lot of Hydras. He loses all of his probes, at least. Now, this next wave coming in, this could be really problematic for Mini.
Yep, you're absolutely right. The question is how many cannons are actually at the third base?
Oh, he's going for the third base. I thought actually he might flank and use the high ground advantage there on the fourth base.
No, I think he doesn't want to try to fight the main army.
Okay.
Basically. You know, all these units move at different speeds, so it's kind of hard to get the Protoss army where you need it to be all together. You know, you're a lot of times it's just Zealots fighting.
Yeah.
Again, and the Templars come in later, and then you can try to come in from behind and hit them. And I gotta say, actually, Mini's basically winning on every front. You would have wanted to have done much more damage as Action here than what we've seen.
I feel like the amount of times he attacked the third, I'd like attacking the third as a distraction to hit the fourth like we saw.
Yeah.
But I feel like that time, maybe trying to hit the fourth again, like if you kill the mineral-only base, that's not even the most important thing.
Dude, this is Mini's so good.
This Dark Archon has been
I always thought we were going to see something like this, you know, more commonplace in StarCraft, because it's actually a great unit, the Dark Archon. Its spells come out so quickly. You can see how fast it is.
Yeah.
It's basically, it glides with the army very easily. Feedback is comically good for how the distance it fires at.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes out instantaneously.
So yeah. And Maelstrom's just so good in this matchup.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, people might laugh at this, but if you would get in a really, really long, weird game, mind control is not actually the worst thing ever, you know? It's one of these things where it's like, okay, let's say that the whole map is cut in half and they're turtling.
Once upon a time, there was a professional PvP played on a 2-player map.
Oh,
where
yeah.
It ended up a draw because both sides had a bunch of Dark Archons at the end game.
That's right.
So they just sat behind cannons because otherwise you get stuff stolen.
Right. It's funny. But yeah, I think it's just a great unit. Okay, so we got a big surround of Hydras coming in over here.
Some good side storms coming. He has a lot of Dragoons in here, pushing these Hydras down, but there is going to be a flanking coming now.
Yeah, this is actually really good storms here. Look at this. He still hasn't even killed the Dark Archon. There it is, GG.
Ooh. That Dark Archon stayed around during the entire game. What a hero.
Dude, Mini is so good. He's so incredibly good.